Hello and welcome back to the channel, Life of Bonsai. Today I'm finally going to repot my boxwood bonsai. Now weather is looking a little better for the next 2 weeks, so it should be getting a little warmer. So I don't want the buds to start swelling and be too late for me to repot this tree. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage now and just show you the process of how I repot this tree. Now, this tree I'm planning on putting it into a local club show, which is every year, and I believe this one is on April, so it's just right on time. I'm going to repot and down the line start working on building some pads. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what my plans are before I start repotting and what I'm going to do. Let's get started. Now before we start, I want to show you the Nevari and what I want to do on this repot. So as you can see, this root is looking pretty ugly. So I'm going to chop this root to start getting better movement on that, and it's not just bulging out like this. I'm going to remove those little dead roots and further develop that Nevari. It's got a really nice Nevari as you can see, and I want to further develop it. So that is the plan as well as the repot. So let's get this done. So this is going to be my front right here. And the pot that I'll be using is this one right here. It's slightly smaller, but it's going to look really good. First thing I want to do, of course, is to take the tree out of the pot. What I did, just removing roots that are dead, just things that are just sticking out, like this little pieces right here. There's some roots that are just dead, just hanging down. There's not really a need to have those roots on the design. Just little pieces like those that take away from the actual visual. We don't want to have any distractions at the Nabari, so that is important to remove those extra dead roots to keep the attention to the actual Nabari. So just a quick cleanup on those dead roots. This right here, like little things sticking out. There it is. One. Now this one doesn't really matter. I'm going to be chopping down right here. So that is going to allow me to have that root moving and eventually healing and going down on the soil, into the soil. So this is just coming out and up. It does not look nice at all. So that is the goal. Next thing is to remove the tree out of the container. So here we go. And it's important, sometimes I had this little pin on front just to show what it's going to be my front. So that's what it was. Depending on how long the tree has been in the pot, sometimes it's important to use, you can even use a butter knife if you don't mind having one extra less. But yeah, you can just go around just to loosen up the soil. And I'm going to reuse this soil, so I'm going to use a little thing that I got on Amazon that helps with not making a mess and also holds all the soil whenever we're doing a repot. It helps a lot, especially when I'm doing a repot indoors for my tropicals at the moment. I don't make a mess all over the floor, so that is important. So I'm just going all around. Now it is important that you know exactly the season, the best repotting season for your tree. So for example, for conifers and deciduous trees, I think now would be a great time right before the buds start to swell. It is really important. For me, I'm doing it a little bit earlier, because right now we are halfway through winter and we might be getting another cold freeze. But we are getting about 1 to 2 weeks of warmer temperatures, and that causes the trees to start waking up a little earlier, and I kind of miss that window sometimes. So that happened with my Chinese elm last year. I was supposed to repot it. Next thing you know, it was already budding out and stuff, so I missed out that window. So it's important to do when the tree is dormant, and that gives you the most chances of survival. Okay, so now that I loosen up the soil, going to carefully lift the tree, and this is quite heavy. This to the side. So here is a lot of roots, a lot of roots. I want to carefully remove some soil. Wow, we have a lot of roots to work with. So it's really important to kind of organize your roots and also make sure that you prune the roots that are just too long. And if it's just hanging down too long, you want to get rid of those and create kind of like a more compacted looking root system. So I'm going to try to remove, I'm not going to fully remove. Let's see. So I'm just going to be raking a little bit of this soil at the top. And I'm not going to bare root the tree completely. I'm going to only root prune at the bottom, maybe on the sides a little bit, but I do want to kind of remove a little bit of this extra soil at the top just to expose that nebari a little bit more and kind of untangle roots a little bit. So that is what I'm doing here. Sometimes the roots just circle or just go around all of the pot. So it's important that you want to have those roots kind of going down like that. So that is essential. So that is what I'm doing here. So it is important to do this also because as you, especially with a younger tree, you might have, if it's like a nursery container tree or something that you got from a nursery, those trees tend to have, roots all over the place. And if you don't really fix those when they're young, once they're older, it becomes harder to fix those issues with all those roots going all wild, especially when you're trying to get it into a smaller container. You really have to do some crazy pruning on those roots, and it's easier to kill a tree that way. So you definitely want to do it whenever you repot, kind of sort out the roots a little bit better each time to make it easier for the next time. So now it's time to start working on removing those roots that I don't want. Now, as I was raking all this soil away, there is some fat. There's one under this one. It's a big taproot. So I think I'm going to chop this down a little bit right here. It's a big, just nasty taproot right here. And there's like two more down here. So I'm going to get rid of those. Two of those seem to be dead, so they don't really need to be here. But I need to remove this one. It's been bothering me for a while. So I need to get rid of that one to create better flow. So here I am. It's just a nasty root that needs to be removed. About there. This is a this is a pretty thick root. It's gonna give me some trouble. I'm just going to do it in sections, I guess. Okay, so here we go. So it gives me a nicer cut. And now as you look at the front, I'm going to cover this with soil, and that is going to look a lot better. And as it heals, it should be shooting down this way. So clean it up. Okay, so here we are now. So we got rid of that ugly root. And I'm just going to sort out the roots a little bit better. And I'll be back. Okay, so here we are. And I've been doing a lot of work on these roots. And I have somewhat reduced the mass of these roots. And the reason why is because as I was digging down and kind of organizing these roots a little bit better, there's a lot of those huge roots. So a lot of like crazy things like this, and like this, there's this one right here, just big chunks. Like you see how big this is? It's like pretty thick. So I removed that, and of course it has a lot of roots. So that helped me reduce the root mass, and I think I reduced it pretty good. And I just I still have a few of those big ones, but I'm not gonna bother with those at the moment. I just need to remove just a little bit of the feeder roots of the trunk. And like this right here, I have a big, somewhat thick root right here. I don't really want. Yeah. And I'm just going to remove what's hanging down there. Nice. Nice little haircut. And just around the edges. So I got my pot ready. Got the wire to anchor the tree. And I'm just going to fill out the bottom with some soil. And I'm reusing the same soil that it was original with the tree, just because it's really great soil. So I really like this one. Now, time for our tree. So this is my front. Make sure that I got the right angle. Up there. I can sit flush into the pot. So I keep looking back at the tree just to see if it's centered. And looks like I might need to move just a little bit this way. About there. See? So I think after a while, this should be right on center right there. I even measured just to double check. So there it is, anchored up, and I'm just gonna fill up the rest with soil. And I'm pretty happy of how this turned out. This honestly was a long repot, and the reason why is because I kept fighting those ugly tap roots that were just growing crazy, and it was just taking me a while to get rid of them. Just really being careful to not mess up with the mess with the actual roots that I needed to keep for my design. So that is something that did take a little bit, but it's fun. It's pretty fun. It's really rewarding. The time that you spend on bonsai is really rewarding. I'm just going to get rid of those air pockets. I'm excited for this tree. I'm excited of how it's going to turn out, and it's exciting having a tree to work in it every year, little things at a time. Next thing you know, you have a tree that looks really nice and is possibly ready for a show. So that's where I'm trying to go with this tree. Get it ready for a show. Eventually, just got to get rid of this one. Now it's really important to do this, and I always mention this in my videos when I repot a tree, but it's really important to push down on the soil with the chopstick I use, or you can just use anything that's kind of like this, round at the tip, not pointy, because you don't want to be breaking through the roots. But this is going to help a lot with getting rid of those air pockets. Some aeration is good for the tree, but too much could be bad. I'm really happy on how that root turned out, the one that I needed to fix up. So hopefully it heals really well and I can have some nice looking Navari. Just looking back at the tree after the repot, I think the trunk looks way thicker. Looks way bigger than how it was looking on the bigger container. So this is nice. I'm loving it. It looks really nice. And I'm just going to use this little spray thing to clean up a little bit of the pot and the trunk as well. The next thing is just to completely water the tree. Fully saturate the soil till it drips down from bottom of the pot. Here it is. I think it looks really good. It looks amazing. And as you can see, I was able to fix the root that was just sticking out pretty ugly. Change my front, did a full repot. So I know this might be a little bit of a long video, but I think this tree is great looking. Next thing is to work on building some pads and developing the branching a little bit better. But first, I just have to let it recover. Make sure that the next, if we have freeze coming up, that I keep it safe and protected from getting those roots frozen. But I really do appreciate you guys sticking to the end of this video. It means a lot. Please subscribe, share, comment down below what you think of this tree, and you have an awesome day.